How? Just like that. The recording has started. And that means we're doing Lunch and Learn once again. It's Friday, the 21st of June, 2024. My name's Greg Nash. It's my mission to help you learn how to use Fabric, build Fabric, do fabricy things, become a Fabricorn, build Power BI, become a Power BI unicorn, and all those things. We're talking about budget versus actual versus forecast scenario. We're building something in Fabric, although we haven't built much yet, but we did actually build a little report. And then we created like a CI/CD pipeline using PBIP format. That was cool. And then we've synced that to our workspace. And then we spoke about all the different workspaces we need. And I drew a picture. Here's the picture. I drew a confusing picture about what if we have multiple developers and how is that going to work? And so we're going to build this today because I just want to build it. I was going to do it during the week. I know I said I'd do it during the week. I didn't do it during the week. I'm too busy, folks. I'm too busy, but that's okay. We'll build it now. So we're going to build some extra workspaces, and then we're going to talk about we're going to talk a little bit more about CI/CD, but this time we're going to talk about CI/CD for Fabric objects. So before we talk about Power BI objects and PBIP format, now we're going to talk about Fabric objects. What are the options? What can we build using CI/CD? What is CI/CD for Fabric? What can we integrate into GitHub and or Azure DevOps? And the answer that I will tell you right now is I do not know what the options are right now. That's why we're going to look them up. That's why it's called Friday Lunch and Learn. We're going to learn stuff. If you're new, let me know. Put something like put a one in the chat or something, and then I know you're new, and I'll say hello to you. But welcome to those who are returning, to the true fans who knew the link and could just join. It's Friday once again. Looking forward to the weekend. I'm also going to talk about our scenario with our departments and their budgets if we get to that. So I think we're going to start with that because we're on the whiteboard. So just like we have multiple developers working on our Power BI, so this is our DevOps pipeline. We'll call this DevOps. Sorry, I'm drawing with a mouse again. I know it's no good. I wish I had my other screen, but we're not. So let's talk now a little bit about our DataOps. So DataOps is, well, I don't know, lots of different ways to think about it. You could think about it DevOps for data, but I think about the DataOps pipeline as the flow the data takes from entry to insight. Patent pending, copyright 2024, Greg Nash. From entry, so we've got departments over this side. Remember, we spoke about our departments in our budgeting scenario. There's multiple departments; they each do their own budget. Right, so departments, here they are. There's like 5 of them. I'll make 5 boxes. Oh, I'll make 4 boxes. 5 boxes. 5 boxes is too many. 4 departments, and they all create their own budget. We need to bring that budget into a centralized location. Womp womp. To create a consolidated budget. Cons. We need to consolidate all the budget up. Then we take that budget and we do 2 things. One is that we calculate our forecast. And then 2 is we create our, what I'm going to call our KPIs in inverted commas. They're not really KPIs. They're all those things that we spoke about in the last few weeks. If you missed the last sessions, if you're on YouTube, then there's other YouTube videos. But if you're in real life, then you'll have to wait till the YouTube videos go up on YouTube to catch up to where we're up to. We've spoken about a lot of stuff. We're getting into the nitty-gritty now. So multiple departments with their budget spreadsheets. These are all spreadsheets. And then those budget spreadsheets need to be consolidated into a single data set. Is that going to be a spreadsheet? Probably not. Then we're going to create a forecast. That's probably is going to be a spreadsheet because Greg likes spreadsheets for forecasting. And then we're going to calculate some KPIs. And then we might do something else, like this could be an ML model, right? So there's lots of different scenarios. This here could be ML. Might not be a spreadsheet. But in our scenario, it's going to be a spreadsheet. And then this, I don't know if we'll do it in Fabric as part of like Python. We should use a different color, shouldn't we? Can I? Oh, I can't delete like you can in. It's not an object. Hang on. Can I select? Yes, it is. Nice. Um, that might that might be a spreadsheet. That might be something we do in Python. That might be something you do in SQL. That might be something else. Okay, because I remember I wanted to create that crazy fact table with all of the different KPIs in it before we bring it into, and then that all goes into our bronze layer, and then that goes into silver, etc., etc., as we've already spoken about in the past. So that's our medallion architecture. And then that goes into gold. And then that turns into a semantic model. Well, so we'll put a little picture of a model. This is my universal star schema picture. Turn it into a semantic model. And then turn that into a report, or 12. What's the universe? Oh, I turned it into a straight line. I don't know how I did that. Oh, look at that. That's cool. Is that what you how should we do a report? It has a pie chart on it. Yeah, that's my report. From entry to insight. And then you could say, or from entry to action, you know. And there's lots of things we need to think about along the way, right? Because we have to think about security and quality and validation. Oh, look how it turns into a straight line. That's weird. And all those lovely things as we go. And then there's transformations that happen, etc. This is insight. Entry to insight. The entry to insight value chain. And so I think of this as a key component of DataOps. Data ops. Whereas this up here, this is DevOps. This DevOps, this DataOps. That's how I think of it. I don't think I'm the same as everybody else. So I think a lot of people think of this as DataOps, except it's using data stuff. But anyway. Okay. So we've got this DataOps pipeline. Now this is interesting, right? Because if you look at this, look at this pattern. We have developer A and developer B. They're both working on the same thing, and then we have to bring their work together via merging patterns. And this is what we were talking about here, where we have developer A creates a version, then they branch it off, and then developer B creates a version, and they merge those things back in. It's a similar kind of idea here, right? But it uses spreadsheets and accountants. Unfortunately, the cool thing about Power BI project files is that you can merge them and check out the differences between those mergers. Can't really do that with spreadsheets. So whether we would use like a GitHub style thing here, I don't know. That could be a step too far. I'm a firm believer that this pattern could be used to optimize all sorts of business processes, including ones that aren't necessarily anything to do with development, like things like managing spreadsheets. But we couldn't do a diff comparison of spreadsheets to do our consolidated budget. So I don't know if it's going to work. And then also you've got to teach all the accountants how to use Git or DevOps. I don't know if that's going to fly, but I like to think in a utopian world, you could actually use Azure DevOps to manage the spreadsheets. How's that for an idea? But we're not going to do that, are we? We're going to put it in SharePoint because that's what everybody does. So let's put it in SharePoint. So this is going to be SharePoint. Well, they're going to save their stuff to SharePoint first. We're going to pull that out of SharePoint. We're going to put it into the data lake to create our consolidated spreadsheet. So we're going to pull the data out of the various SharePoint spreadsheets from the departments. We're going to pull that data, and then the consolidated forecasting spreadsheet is going to pull that consolidated data back out to do its forecasting, right? So it's going into the lake and then out of the lake. So everything goes into the lake. That's what we want to try and encourage. So let's make our process do that. That's my idea. If you've got a better idea, let me know. But I think that's a pretty good idea. So that's what I was thinking. So I thought what we could do, I don't know if you've ever hit this button. Oh no, I just choked myself. I got to do my Zoom it. Where's my Zoom it? I don't know if you've ever hit this button over here. Power BI actually prompts you to hit it every now and then, or whether you've seen this, but this is called a task flow. And we haven't done this yet, and so I thought I'd do some task flows today. Your utopia is an accountant dystopia. Yeah, it might be. It might be a dystopia. I think I can bring everybody around, and I'm going to prove it by building it here and now. Well, over the next several weeks/months, depending on how long it takes. Um, all right. Accountant dystopia is often what I'm aiming for, I have to say. I will confess, literally never built a task flow. Select a task flow or build your own to get started. Select one of Microsoft's pre-designed task flows. Task flow is like, you know how I'm doing this in Whiteboard? Well, you can do it in task flows, except maybe not. I don't know if I can be as sophisticated as what I've been here, but let's try. Let's see what the pre-designed task flows look like. So we've got a general high-level data processing task flow that takes you through typical tasks and the items assigned. Okay. A basic data analytics task flow. Can I do an arrow? Where's arrow? Arrow is Alt, isn't it? Alt? No. Control? No, that's a box. Shift Alt? No, that's a line. Tab? Oh, that's a circle. Caps lock? No, I don't know how to do an arrow. There's an arrow here somewhere. Right click? No, that's move. Okay. Anyway, sorry, getting distracted. Basic data analytics. Data analytics using a SQL analytics endpoint, no. Medallion architecture, well, we like that. Maybe we do that. Event analytics, no. Lambda architecture, process batch in real time in one process flow. No, we don't need to do that. Okay, I'm going to go Medallion. Oh, sensitive data. See that? Down the bottom here? Sensitive data. Or basic machine learning. Okay, so let's pick Medallion. Oh, did it select? Select a task flow, Medallion. Okay, 9 tasks. Organize the data in a data lakehouse or warehouse while progressively improving its structure, yes, and quality through each layer from bronze, silver to gold. Well, I know I need at least that, so let me. Whoa, cool. What's this? Get some high volume data. Ingest volume raw data from a variety of sources into the bronze data storage. This is low volume data. Ingest low volume raw data into bronze data storage. Select an item. It's a get data. Okay, so you have get data items, you have store data items, you have prepare data items. I'm reading this little bit here. That one's purple. Then we store it again. Then we prepare it again. Then we store it again. Golden data. Golden? Golden? Can I change the name to gold? Anyway, golden data, data visualize, ML serve. Okay, we don't need ML serving. We're not going to do any edit ML stuff. Let's get rid of that. Data visualization's cool. We like that. We're only going to get one of these types of data. Or maybe I could go each department. Okay, so let's go each department. Actually, we'll build this before here. Add a general task, a get data task, an analyze task. Okay, this is starting to make sense. Get data. How do I name it? New item. What? Oh, that's an actual thing. Okay, we don't want that. What does this do? Attach something. Oh, I can assign it to an item. That's cool. I want to rename it. Edit. Here we go. Department 1. Oh, I turned caps lock on. Department 1. Should we be more specific than that? Department 1 budget. New. No. Add. Get data. Is it on top? Oh, that was weird. Did you see that? Put it on top. We don't like that. Department 2 budget. That was neater. New. Okay. Microsoft. If you're going to have a new button, don't put it right next to an add button. Sure. Okay. Get. And then where is it? It's here. Okay. Department 3. What happened there? I'm not good at this. Department 3. Budget. One more, one more. Come on, we got this. Oh, now if I hit add it, we'll put it in a good spot. Get data. Yeah. Edit. Department 4 budget. Got to put a little dash. Got to make them all the same, even though they're not. Okay, so we've got 4 budget files coming in from departments. Oh, I really need to make that capitalized, otherwise I'm going to literally go crazy. Okay, save. Department 1, Department 2, Department 3, Department 4. So that was what I said. Great. Oh, the different tasks here. Okay. Medallion architecture. All right, so then we're going to bring that into a consolidated area inside our data warehouse. So let's add that in. It's going to be a store data, store some data. Should we put in the preparate, like the consolidation task? Maybe we should put in a prepare data task first. Let's do it just for fun. Now, how do I join from one to the other? I probably go yoink. No, I go, oh, how do I create this cool line? Task type, item recommendation, edit, source control. Okay, it's not intuitive. So, oh, look, lineage view. No, that's not right. Oh, aha, it is intuitive. I intuited it. You got to click the little, you got to, and then yeah, oh, why can't I, what, what, nah, what?
It's a bit clunky, Greg.
Okay, all right. All right. Okay. Let's try that again. I can't. No, we're a solution, we're a data architect. We're gonna figure this out. We're a proper data architect. We can oh no. Oh no, no. Okay, look. Okay, look, folks. Okay, look. Okay. We're joining that. Okay, oh, look at that. Oh my God. Hey, they neatened up. It neatened up. It just needed time. It just needed time to neaten up. Needed time. It's nice now. Okay, so we're going to prepare these 4 budgets using some kind of cool thing. This is probably going to be a data flow. Just here's a little hint. Our data flow, and then we're going to go, oh, let me zoom in a bit. Our data flow, then we're going to put it into storage somewhere. Then we're going to pull it out of storage to do our forecast. So I think we can just get rid of one of these guys. Oh, the zoom change is tripping me out. Okay. I want to be that zoomed, please, and never change. Thank you. So we're going to pull that out. We'll rename this to forecast, consolidated forecast. What else did I say we would do? Consolidate it first, then do a forecast. Well, we're kind of consolidating in storage. That'll work. We're doing the prep data. That's going to consolidate it into storage. Then we're going to pull it out, do the forecast, put the forecast back into storage, pull it out, do the KPIs, then put it. Okay, I'm all over it. Boom. This is not called high volume data. This is called consolidated forecast. Save. Bronze data. Okay, so our consolidated forecast is going to come back out. We want to do, do I just say that part of processing I'm going to do the calculations for the KPIs, or should I create a whole other? I feel like it's getting a bit long, that's all. We should probably do it. Okay, so this doesn't go into bronze data just yet. Add, get data. And prepare data. Add, analyze and train data, track data, visualize data. Analyze and train. Maybe we turn that into a, no. Just to get data. So the consolidated forecast is, so what we're not showing here is the spreadsheet. So we go out to a spreadsheet and then, and then go back into our get data. So task flows is only good for the things that are actually in Fabric, but we'll put them in. I guess if you were doing this in like Visio, you could show everything. So this is a get data for KPIs. Maybe we can make this together. Oh, we'll see. KPIs and calcs. Consolidated forecast, KPIs and calcs. I'm okay with this. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with this. That can happen in parallel. I'm all right with that. That looks nice and neat. Okay, so our KPIs and our forecast, then they go into bronze data. Bronze data then get prep, all of that, because that's all Excel, so it'll need cleaning up, turning into nice tables. Turn that into silver. Further transform it. Can we use the proper names for these, please? Not initial process. This is going to be conformation, conformance, and standardization. I'm in two minds. There's a lot of talk in the data world about whether we should use medallion nomenclature, bronze, silver, golden, or I don't know if you can copy the task. Sorry, I only just read the thing. I'll try that in a sec. There's a lot of discussion well, there certainly was a lot of discussion when we were hanging out with Microsoft about medallion architecture nomenclature. Whether we like bronze, silver, gold, which is common, and it's like came out of, I think, does Databricks, were they the first ones that came up with medallion architecture? Tell me if you know. Who invented medallion, or who started the whole medallion architecture thing with bronze, silver, gold, specifically associated with data processing steps? Not, I know there's this concept, other concepts of bronze, silver, gold in terms of data, but specifically in this context, was it Databricks that was like, yeah, you got to use a medallion architecture, or was there someone before that I don't know about? Anyway. And then Microsoft, they didn't use bronze, silver, gold because that was like a Databricks thing. They used to have this other thing, and I actually covered it in like a lunch and learn ages ago, and we were doing it in Power BI. And they had like 4 steps: conformance, standardization, enrichment, and curation, which I actually like better because it tells you what you do at each step, right? Because you bring it into bronze, so you have raw, and then you conform it, then you standardize it, and you might do that around the other way. I can't remember. I think that's the same thing almost. So you conform it, you standardize it, you enrich it, which is a silver layer, and then you curate it, which is the gold layer. And I think that that's more descriptive. And a lot of people, this is like a religious debate now. People are like really passionate about it. They're like, bronze doesn't make sense. We should keep conformance standardization. And I'm like, okay, everyone's angry about it. So let me know what you think. Do you like bronze, silver, gold, or do you like standardize, enrich, curate? Standardize, enrich, curate would be like, that's what I prefer because it tells you what you're doing. And then I told like a data engineer this when I was at a customer site. I was like, hey, we're going to create this architecture and we're going to do standardization, then we're going to do enrichment, then we're going to do creation. The guy's like, man, that's awesome. What a great way to put it. I'm like, it's just bronze, silver, gold. And he's like, oh. Anyway, this is enrichment. Oh, it didn't save. Okay. Enrichment. And this is curation. Oh, wait. Am I back? Wouldn't there be another prep step? There's not enough prep steps, folks. There needs to be one here. It comes in. No, it goes into bronze in raw. Okay, let's talk about this. What does everybody think? Databricks environment uses raw trusted curated, so that's good too. I like that one. According to Wikipedia, the Romans invented the Medallion architecture. The Romans. Oh, I love the Romans. We use raw curated unified reporting. Yeah, that's cool too. Raw curated unified. So everyone has a slightly different approach. And then because this is part of the problem, because say Matt who uses raw trusted curated and Tori who uses your raw curated unified. So which one's bronze? Is it raw? And then for silver, Tori might call silver curated, whereas Matt might call silver trusted. And this is the problem. And this is why everybody's losing their minds over it, because which one is what does bronze mean? It doesn't mean anything. Hence the problem. So, I'm not anti medallion architecture, like using the names bronze, silver, gold. I think it's cool and it's fine, but I prefer the other ones. I do say that I prefer the other ones. If you're going to do things like in a way where there's like in a non-ambiguous way, then I think you should use names for data stores that make sense. Anyway, that's my 2 cents on the medallion architecture thing. Clip that, throw it on YouTube, throw it on LinkedIn and see what people think. Can you copy tasks was the question. Let me see if I can copy this task. If I go Control C, Control V, it does copy. It does copy. So that's cool. I didn't see a UI thing to copy it though. Oh, can I right click on it? I can't right click. It's just Control C, Control V. That's my only way to do things. All right, sorry, we're being architects. I forgot. So then I go into bronze. That's raw. But then I conform and standardize into silver. And then I enrich. But then you curate into gold. Isn't gold's your curated data? So enrichment has to happen. Ugh. Do we put enrichment? I feel like there should be one here, which is conformance and standardization into bronze. And I think there should be another data store called raw. That's just I'm going to call this file store. I just noticed. Oh, I didn't save. Okay, don't forget to save when you type things because you need to hit the save button. All right. So it comes out into raw, then you conform it, and then that becomes bronze. Ah, this doesn't make sense to me. That's what I would, or is there enrichment happen before silver? Okay, I don't know. That's fine. And then data visualize. Let me think about that. I don't want to waste too much time talking about it, but this is our logical data flow, sort of. Department budgets, we're going to prepare that data and throw it into the stock. So this is consolidate. I'll call this consolidate, not prepare. Consolidate budgets. Put it in a file store, create some KPIs and calcs, put it in bronze, silver, gold, blah, 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 and away we go. All right, so that's task flows. And then you can keep this here. This is a part of my workspace, right? So if I'm like, oh, what is this workspace for? And then I can go, oh, look, here's all the things that are in my workspace that I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to bring my budget data in, consolidate it, da, 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 da. So you've got a little architecture diagram that you can use. And I think you can link these guys to actual real items like get data. So let's say we create a data flow to bring in our department one budget. Boom. Let's create the data flow. Boom. Away you go. That kind of thing. Except it can't. Why can't I? Am I supposed to do? Oh, oh, what did it do? Oh, created a note. Oh my God. What's it doing? Was it supposed to? Oh, it created like 4 data flows. I think I should have been more patient. Oh no. Data flow 2. Data flow 3. Notebook 1. All right, that's what you get if you click on a lot of stuff and Fabric hasn't caught up. RIP. Sorry about that. Okay, anyway, so let's go back to our workspace. Close the data flow. Oh no, what's he done? Okay, close the data flow. Yes, I want to exit. Thank you. That data flow automatically closed. This notebook is still alive somehow. Let's close that. Okay. We have a task flow. Right, so let's create these workspaces we need because we need like 1, 2, 3, 4 workspaces. We've already got 1. So that's our dev workspace. That's the one we're in right now. So we're going to rename that to Fabric Dev, then test and prod, etc., etc. Okay. So workspaces, new workspace. I'm going to call this, let's give it finance underscore test. We'll call this, is it aardvark? Aardvark finance underscore test. That means it'll go to the top 2. That's why we chose aardvark. All right. We're going to rename Fabric Friday to its correct name, which is aardvark. So we rename this one, workspace settings. I wonder if this will break the link to DevOps or if it uses a GUID link. If this breaks it, that's a big problem. Like it definitely shouldn't. Definitely shouldn't. Okay, this is going to be aardvark finance underscore finance. What do we think about underscores? Are we happy with underscores? Aardvark underscore finance dev. I've said test lowercase, dev lowercase. Yep. Where's the save button? Remove this workspace. Okay, I guess it just automatically saves. Is that saved? Did it? Yes. No? Yes. Cool. Okay, we're in the dev workspace. Great. And then we need one more workspace. Create new workspace. I haven't been checking the capacity, but we'll check that in a sec. Aardvark underscore. Hey, our capacity trial reset, by the way. We didn't speak about this. Got 17 days left. I had like 9 days left and it reset to 27 days. So they gave us a leave of absence or whatever. Aardvark Finance. Okay, so here we're not going to put anything under after the prod one because that's the proper one. So we don't have dev or test and we don't put underscore prod. We just give it the name, the whole name. Production workspace. This is going to be the production workspace. And then we need one more workspace, which is Greg's branch workspace. So we'll call this the GN underscore development. I'll better make it aardvark just in case I want to find all of these again. Aardvark underscore GN underscore development. Apply. And then here, look at that. All the aardvarks go to the top. That's why you use aardvark, folks. Aardvark Consulting. All right. We've got all of our workspaces. That was a part of our plan. We've got dev test prod. We'll need to set up, and our sync is currently to dev. That's what we want. And then what we want to do is we want to have like let me use a pen. We want to have a deployment pipeline, right? That goes from here to here and then from here to here. That's going to be our deployment pipeline. And then this is where Greg's going to do all of his development features. We might create another one for Steve or someone later to do his development features, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so they're all the workspaces. We also need a SharePoint library for our budget people to create a thing. I might create a team in Teams for that. I'll do that offline because I don't want to open Teams. but you know what I'm saying. And then that's going to be for our budgety people. Where's our budgety people? So this is going to be there's going to be a team site. Then we're going to pull that into our development lakehouse, and then we're going to pull it back out using Excel Power Query, probably, to create our forecast. Then we're going to put it back in, and then we're going to pull it out to create our KPIs. And we're going to put it back in, and then it'll go into bronze, silver, gold, blah, 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 blah. Got it. So we need our development workspace is our main workspace, Aardvark Finance Development. Oh, and it just automatically assigned it to my fabric capacity, it looks like. It did. To my trial license. So when I created the workspace, I didn't actually check that, but it's got the little diamonds next to it, so it looks like it's created it correctly. Lovely. Now we have a beautiful task flow. We can hide that for now. We've got, look at all these data flows. All right. Sorry, everyone. All right. My apologies. I clicked too many. Clicked too many times. Apparently, it does create a data flow. Let me delete this. Oh my God. Oh, it says unsupported. Oh no, wait. We uncommitted. Okay. We're learning. 15 selected. Are they going to delete? Oh, I feel like Fabric is weirding out on me. Hit refresh. Hit refresh, Greg. Hit refresh. Are they there? They're not. They didn't delete. Are they supposed to delete? Oh, did it just delete one of them? Don't tell me. If I select multiples, no, that just deselects them. Move, unassign, filter, and then I can't delete in bulk. It's probably a good thing. Okay, I have to delete them one at a time. I am an idiot. All right, boom, delete. Now, let's create one of each object because you see where I'm going with this. See that Git status? Well, I delete all of these. See that Git status? It says data flows are unsupported. I need a link to what's supported in Git integration in Fabric. Let me find that. If someone finds it before me, let me know. Supported Git objects Fabric. What I'm going to search. Overview of Fabric Git integration. Here we go, folks. Here we go. This feature is in preview. So this is pretty new. We knew that. Talks about version control and Git integration. Git integration in Fabric enables developers to integrate their development processes, tools, and best practices straight into the Fabric platform. Yay! Allowing developers who are developing in Fabric to do cool things. Here is the things we can put in source control. Come on, tell me. Supported items. Here it is. This is what we need. A pipeline is supported. Okay. So I can create pipelines, but I can't create data flow Gen 2s. How do I feel about that? I feel okay. A lake house is supported. Shift right click. No, shift. Lake house is supported. Notebooks are supported. Paginated reports are supported. Regular reports are supported. And so what does this say? Except reports connected to semantic models hosted in AAS or SQL Server analysis services. Azure analysis, any analysis services reports, or reports exported by Power BI desktop that depend on semantic models hosted in my workspace. Oh. Reports exported by Power BI desktop. So if you have a semantic model hosted in a personal workspace, aka my workspace, it means you cannot integrate them into Git. I wonder why that is. because something to do with a free license? Or is it not? Is it different in my workspace? Surely it's not different. Oh, how many of you use my workspace? Huh? That's interesting. Okay. Semantic models are not supported. Well, that's pretty. No, that's okay because we've got the model definition file in our PBIP being supported. Oh, semantic models are supported. Sorry, semantic models are supported. That's good. Yeah. Push data sets aren't supported. That makes sense because it's like a yeah, that's fine. You never use them anyway. Live connections to analysis services. No one cares. Okay. And model v1. So if you've got a really old semantic model from ye olden days of Power BI that you're still using and you've never once upgraded, then it isn't supported. Maybe that's not ye olden days. What is that? Before the change to not PBIP, but there was a change to the semantic model thing. It was a couple of years ago. Okay. How are we going for time? Heaps of time. Spark jobs are supported. Spark environment supported. Data warehouses are supported. Okay. If the workspace or Git directory has unsupported items, it can still be connected, but the unsupported items are ignored. They aren't saved or synced, but they're not deleted. They appear in source control, but you cannot commit or update them. And so I now understand why someone was saying they hate that data flows are not supported. They were talking about Power Query not being supported in CI/CD, and I'm like, surely Power Query of all things should be easy to support because it's just M code. Surely, maybe not, but it would be saved in a PBIP file, so you can do you're saving you can do CI/CD on your M code through the PBIP. You just can't have a data flow. But we want to use data flows. Okay. Well, data flows are a little bit expensive from a CU perspective anyway, aren't they? Considerations. Only Git in Azure repos with the same tenant as Fabric is supported. So that's the one that we've linked. We did that already. If the workspace and Git repo in two different geographical regions, the tenant admin must enable cross-geo exports. Oh, yeah, okay, fair enough. If Azure DevOps on-prem isn't supported, well, yeah. Does Azure DevOps on-prem even exist? That's like the old team services? What was that called? Visual Studio Team Viewer or whatever it was called. Sovereign clouds aren't supported. Sovereign clouds being the China cloud and maybe the defense cloud in the US. And what's the other? There's another one. It's a sovereign cloud. Okay. So that's the special Azure implementations. Hmm. All right. So we can Git integrate lots of things, but we also can not Git integrate lots of things. Well, some things. Okay. How do we integrate with Git? Connect to a repo. I think we already know how to do this. Okay. So our data flow number 9 is unsupported, but our notebook is supported. There's another reason to use notebooks. Jeez. And it's linked to a task. Look at that. That's cool. Can I, can I, no, I can't. Okay. So I can actually link and it shows here in task, Aardvark Financials. Ooh. Aardvark Finance Dev owns this. Ah, because it's linked to the publishing. Yeah. So the actual workspace owns it because it's linked. It's synced. It's not. I didn't publish it up. Like so, that's why my name's not against it. Oh, so I'm learning so much stuff. Okay. I've got source control. I've got notebooks. I've got blah blah blah. So have we achieved everything we wanted to achieve? Not really. We haven't done a lot. All we've done is talk a lot. Okay. But we do have the framework for what we need. So our departments have their spreadsheets. They're going to save it into SharePoint. We're going to create something that's going to pull it out of SharePoint and build a consolidated lakehouse. So we need a lakehouse and we need the best thing for SharePoint is data flows. Can we do it in Can you even do can you even pull an Excel spreadsheet out of SharePoint using like Python? I guess you can. Python can do everything. I wouldn't even know how to do that though. Okay, so we're going to create this data flow, which is going to be the Can I give it a name just yet? Oh no, it just doesn't like me. Okay, yes, I want to exit. Can I just rename it from here and not edit? No, okay. Oh, I rename up here, don't I? I remember now. Okay, I remember how to do data flows. This is going to be called consolidate budgets. We're going to get Excel workbooks from SharePoint, from a bunch of different workbooks. We're going to consolidate them together. All right, that's cool. That's all I wanted to do. Can I just save that as consolidate budgets? Cool, there's my data flow. I don't need a workbook just yet, a notebook just yet, sorry. I can delete this one unrecoverably because I haven't synced it. Okay. We need a lakehouse. To put all of our things in. Okay, don't call it lakehouse, Greg, because then you get lakehouse.lakehouse. What we want to call it is Aardvark Finance Lakehouse. Underscore? Can I put underscore in the lakehouse name? I can. How do we feel about capitalization in the names of our lakehouses? Should we keep them? Yeah, that's fine. Performance on data flows is not great if you have the skills and or the use case. Notebooks are the more performant option. They are absolutely the more performant option. Data flows are very convenient and easy to implement, but they are not as performant as notebooks. Nothing is. Notebooks rule. They're also a lot cheaper to run. Notebooks are cheaper. Remember that. Okay. From a CU perspective. Okay, we created an Aardvark Finance, etc. thing. So let's have a look at our workspace now because that will have created a bunch of stuff. Well, creates a couple of things. It creates a lakehouse, a semantic model, and a SQL Analytics endpoint. There we go. And they're currently uncommitted into our source control. That's fine. Lovely link to our repo. So we've got some lovely fabric items ready to go. Let's look at our drawing. So this is our lakehouse now. We're going to pull it out of the lakehouse and then put it back into the lakehouse using our same thing that we did here. So that's fine. We're going to pull it out of the lakehouse, do some KPIs, put it back into the lakehouse. That's fine. So that will all, but they'll all be data flows, bringing them back in, will they? No, maybe we should use notebooks because we like them better. No, we're going to use data flows first, and then we're going to move it to notebooks when we want to optimize for performance. All right, so I'm going to create another data flow. Hang on a second. I just said, here's a question that I have about Fabric. This is a green data flow Gen 2. That's a purple and it just says data flow. Is there two kinds of data flows? No, that's just green too. I can't accidentally create an old style. Oh, is this an old style data flow, not a Gen 2 data flow?
Yeah, Gen 2 is green.
But yeah. Okay. So wait, does that mean? Oh, I'm so confused. Old style data flow. So if people are creating old style data flows and then comparing them to new, wait, look at form. No, it's data flow Gen 2. Good. I'm glad he form it. Like I'd expect Gilbert to be pretty on the ball. So he wasn't comparing old data flows to it. So we're never creating an old data flow, right? We're never gonna click here. Is there a scenario where data flow, you're going to use a data flow over a data flow Gen 2? Surely never. There's no benefit to that. Oh, what's the difference? Oh, I need to know more about these things. God. If only I knew everything there was to know about Power BI, I'd be a unicorn. Okay, it's something on my list to learn. What's the difference between a Dataflow Gen 2 and a Dataflow? All right, but that doesn't matter. So this is going to be our forecast ingest. And then we're going to create another Dataflow Gen 2. But look, that's the default. Oh my God, is that because I'm in Power BI mode? Let's go into data engineering mode. Yeah, that's cooler. Dataflow Gen 2. Dataflow Gen 2. Okay, it's obviously not a data engineering thing. Let's go to data factory mode. Yay. Okay.
If you don't have Fabric, I guess you can still use the old ones.
You can use it. Yeah, absolutely. So if you don't have, I'm talking about just for Fabric people. If you don't have Fabric, you would use Dataflow, regular Dataflow. Yeah. Although, yeah, I don't know. Why is there two? Oh, I'm so confused. Okay. What is this going to be called? This is going to be called ingest calculations, calcs, and KPIs. Okay, we've got our consolidated budget object, we've got our forecast ingest object, we've got our ingest calcs and KPIs object. Now, can I link this to my guy, to my cool diagram? That's what I want to know. Right, so this is a prepare data step. Task type, it's a prepare data step. Link to, how do I link? Can I link? No, and then can I, is it down here? No, that's a new item. We know not to, don't push this button really lots. You'll know what'll happen. I should have done that actually, because then I could just create it from there. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Link, that's the link button. Yes. Okay, this is consolidate budget. Select. Click the button here, hit select. Look, it's linked to a purple task. Okay, and then this is, oh, that's, oh wait, this is a get data object, and this is a prepare data object. Oh, that's okay. I'm okay with that. This is an ingest, forecast ingest. Wait, did I click the right one? KPIs and calcs, get data. Ingest, calcs, and KPIs. Select. And then this is consolidate forecast. Select. And then cool. Now they've got links to them. Hey. And then this should be linked to something, I guess. Some kind of storage object. Is that what we think there? Is this a storage object we link to? I guess so. It links it to 3 items. Fair enough. Okay. And I guess this is a, is it, do we just, is that what we do? Do we do something like this? Into our lakehouse, into our lakehouse, into our lakehouse. I guess so. Anyway, we did it. We created a task flow. We created objects associated with the task flow, and we linked them together. Wow. How cool. We also are starting to form our fully super enterprise grade mega budget process. So our finance nerds are going to nerd out on their spreadsheets. They're going to save them to a location. Then we're going to use that data flow to pull that into a consolidated location where they're going to do some more nerding out by forecasts and KPIs and stuff. Then we're going to pull that in using our bronze ingest for the KPIs and the forecast back into our bronze layer, and then we're going to start doing some proper notebooks on it instead of using crappy data flows. We're going to notebook ourselves from bronze to silver, silver to gold, maybe silver to gold. I'll think about that. Build a semantic model, create some awesome, amazing visualizations, and we'll be done. Well, folks, we're fresh out of time, but the plan is starting to evolve. Hopefully this is making sense to you. If you need to know why we're doing these things, then you can go and look at the previous videos. But I think this is kind of fun. And then we'll do all of this. I'm going to knock up some spreadsheets. I don't know if maybe we'll do it like next week while I'm actually here and available. But if I get any time, I'll knock up some spreadsheets to put in, and I'll create the Teams location for our SharePoint site, because this is going to be a Teams group, right? So we're going to create a team for each of the departments, and the member of each of the departments is going to save to the centralized team location, and that's what we'll use as the source to bring in from our data flow. Perfect. I love it. Well, it's another week. It's almost the weekend though. Happy Friday, friends. Hope you're all doing well. We will catch up again next week. But yeah, thanks so much. It's great to have you all again. Sorry about the confusion about the link, but we got there. The link is always the same. So if you save the link, it'll just work. You can just rejoin the Teams meeting. It's great. I always have the same link. So feel free, and if I chuck something in the chat, like you can follow the chat and all that kind of stuff too. So feel free to hang around. I'm going to stop the recording. So bye to you folks on YouTube. We'll see you next time. And yeah, if you want to hang around and have a chat with me, then let's do that now. But otherwise, yeah, see you next week.
Hey, Greg, is the lake house